compute. Hello, everyone. It's so nice to see friendly faces, people that we speak to all the time, but maybe haven't seen online. So, Linda, in particular, it's so stunning to see you. Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us today for our first Meet the Entrepreneur webinar, where we invite business women and men on our FindGhana platform to tell us more about their business, what inspired them to go down that route, and how it can benefit us. So if you're on our FindGhana platform, and I know you all are, you'll probably have seen Akua George's post. She's been posting like crazy over the past few months, I would say, highlighting a lot of the things that she does with her business, which is called GoGreen HolistiQ. And she established this to equip people with the knowledge to eat healthier using foods, herbs, and spices from Ghana, so indigenous foods from Ghana. So, what do I mean? Well, tonight, Akua is going to be talking to us about the humble garlic, the vegetable that most of us, I'm sure, eat or cook with. But rather than focus on the white version, which you can commonly find in the shops and the markets, she's going to be looking at the indigenous version, which is purple. And actually, when she told me that it's purple, it reminded me that I've seen it when I've been in Ghana. So that's going to be quite interesting to learn more about that particular route. And then also, she's going to educate us on two herbs which come from the mint family. And she's going to show us how we can use them in our everyday life. So, eating it, but also maybe using it in other ways. And feel free to ask questions. We are going to have a section at the end where you can ask questions to Akua. So you can either drop your question in the comment section or hold on to it and you can ask her directly. But while she's doing the presentation, we'll just let her focus on that. And then I will share her Instagram and her website in the chat if you'd like to follow her and find out more. So I'm going to hand over to Akua, who's going to talk us through her wonderful presentation. So thank you all for joining us today.
So my name is Princess Akua, and I'm the founder of GoGreen HolistiQ. I'm a holistic diet coach, a herbalist, and a consumer educator with over 9 years in the food and agricultural space. Currently, I'm furthering my studies in global food security and nutrition. So food, agriculture had always been my thing, passion, everything, like my interest. And that actually birthed my business and also my NGO. But I'm not going to go into the NGO. I'll just focus on my business. So who are we going holistic? What do we do? Yeah, so GoGreen HolistiQ is an agro-based and a holistic wellness social enterprise that promote healthier communities through indigenous food systems, herbal education, holistic nutrition, and preventive health awareness. Okay, so what is the problem that we are solving here in Ghana, or what is the problem before I even go into the solution? So there've been a significant rise in lifestyle and diet related diseases. Also, we are losing our indigenous food knowledge. There is a disconnect with our food culture. Also, people have become over dependent on processed foods. So we do more of instant food, and there is this disconnection, or I should say, a move away from our local foods, our natural, wholesome foods. The other problem is limited focus on preventive nutrition. People are just all about what can I have right now to satisfy my hunger? Oh, I'm hungry. What can I just put together within 2 minutes or 5 minutes? So people are not thinking about their health. Is just about, or I should say most people, not people, because if I say people, then I'm generalizing it. But most people only think about satisfying their hunger, but not so much conscious about their health. Also limited, okay, I already said that, sorry. extension of local medicinal plants. Now, this last point is of high interest to me. Currently, if you go into the markets and you are looking for like seeds of some of these local medicinal plants, they are hard to find. And even some of the medicinal plants are going into extinction. And not all our medicinal plants, even some of our indigenous ingredients. So, for example, I offer services such as workshops, and I mostly use the palm kernel oil for infusing oils or for infusing of my oils. However, when you walk into the market and you ask for palm kernel oil, which is ajongo, these days it's hard for you to find palm kernel oil. And from the survey and interviews that I've had with the local women sellers, responses had always been, people don't ask of it any longer. So the women processing in rural communities have stopped. And the only way you can actually get the local ajongo is when you place in an order. Then they're gonna like prepare a customized order for you. And we have some individuals that also sell them, but it's not as much as you just walking into finding like your coconut oil. So I'm dwelling so much on this because not just the extinction of our local medicinal plants, also some of our indigenous ingredients are going into extinction. So these are the problems that Go Green Holistic we are looking forward to solving, or we already solving them. Okay, so our solution, we have five holistic approach. The first is through holistic nutrition guidance. So as a holistic diet coach and a consumer educator, if I'm with a client and I'm guiding a client, I'm not going to recommend like westernized foods or ingredients for them to use. The goal is to reconnect them to our food culture. So most times, or most times, every time, is more of reconnecting them back to our food culture through the consumption of our indigenous foods, wholesome foods and ingredients, such as the herbs, spices, and medicinal plants. Then indigenous food education. So as part of this, we organize or we offer indigenous culinary trainings. And through these trainings, we are able to reconnect individuals back to their roots. So the first slide you saw with the image, excuse me, please let me put this on low. Okay, so the first slide that you saw with that with the food image that you saw was part of one of the foods that we prepared from one of our previous workshops. So that's one of the ways that we educate individuals or reconnect our people back to our food culture through indigenous culinary workshops or trainings. And under this session, participants are able to learn how to cook naturally using herbs and spices, no cubes, no MSGs, no artificial flavors, and also how to use wholesome foods and not processed foods. I don't remember, like, most of my foods are being cooked like raw from the beginning. You don't find tin tomatoes, the processed tomatoes, and all of that. I cook natural, 100% natural. Okay. The next is, sorry, herbal education. So under the herbal education here, we offer workshops on infusing oils, salves, balms, and tinctures. I know someone may be asking, so what do we use in all of these workshops? The goal, the basic goal or the overall goal is to connect our people back to our roots. So we use 100% available sourced ingredients such as herbs, spices, medicinal plant oils. So let's say we are infusing we are having an infusion on a particular herb. Let me look for, okay, like the basil, which we'll be talking about today. I'm not going out there to look for olive oil or to go look for castor oil, even though these oils are healthier fat or they are healthy, but I'm not going to go out to look for those and use or incorporate them in my workshops. However, I would go for oils like coconut oil, palm kernel oil, and even when I'm cooking, I cook with palm oil. Well, that depends on the type of meal or food that I'm cooking. But for the infusion oils, 100% we either go for palm kernel oil or coconut oil. And also for the tinctures, yes, I'm going to share a simple recipe with you as well as we move on with the garlic, with the ginger, with the roots, all of the indigenous herbs, spices, medicinal plant that we have. We are able to put all of these together and formulate tincture. And even with the tincture, we are also not using the foreign alcohol. You know, we've been able to come out with a recipe where we are able to formulate our tinctures using our local or our indigenous alcohol, which is the akpeteshi. Well, we are not going into tinctures tonight, so I won't say more about it. So for the herbal education, these are some of the things that we do to reconnect our people back to our root, and then community experiences. Some of you might have seen some of my flyers, you know, flying all over FindGhana chat. So those are events that have been organized. We are able to educate the community about the health benefit of consuming our local herbs and spices. And the last is the sale of herbal farm produce. Well, we are yet to start that, but currently we offer or we sell herbal products. And as we move on, you'll see some of our signature herbal products. Okay, so why does our work matters? We all know that when we talk about chronic diseases, it's not only related to Africans or because you are a Ghanaian. In fact, this is a rising global problem. And the reason why it's becoming alarming here in Ghana is because we have disconnected from our food culture and we have embraced the westernized diet. So now you find out that we Ghanaians are experiencing similar diseases that are related to the Western people. And that's because of the switch in our food, or should I say in our food, yeah, in our food lifestyle. And also indigenous food knowledge, we all know that it offers powerful solution for preventive health. Just like they say, food is your medicine. I am a witness of that, especially with our local foods. You know, they are healing. Most of them have a lot. They are packed with loads of health benefit, but we are not consuming them. So our work really matters. And when we are able to educate individuals, it's like it's an eye-opening. And people, you hear people say, wow, I never knew this herb, this spice can do this medicinal plant can do that. So yeah, our indigenous food offers powerful solutions to preventive health. Also, our communities benefit when cultural food traditions are there. So for example, Ghana, we are, you know, we are engaged in a lot of exports, no, imports. Yes, we import a lot, not export. So we do a lot of importation. However, we can grow our own food. And we know that once we start growing our food, then we can also, it helps the economy. You know, it actually improves the livelihood of local farmers and even provide jobs for the youth. So communities really benefit a lot when we preserve our cultural food, when we start embracing our own, when we start consuming our own foods. Then Our holistic food systems also support health, sustainability, and cultural identity. Yeah, so we're talking a lot about climate change and all of that. Indigenous foods, once we start embracing and cultivating them, it will also mitigate the challenges or the threats that climate change is posing, in our communities. And the last is preservation of our ancestral medicinal plants. I love this part because we cannot have enough of them. Last week I was having a conversation, and this is a conversation I'm always having with people. They say that there is a common proverbs that says that, when an elder dies, a whole library is burnt down. So if we, the younger ones, are not embracing, we are not learning from the elders, the local farmers, the herbalists, the naturopath, and they go to join our ancestors, we are losing our ancestral medicinal plant. Because if I don't know about Nkitinkiti, Nkitinkiti is in English known as anise seeds, how do I know how to cultivate them if I don't even I don't know how it looks like. I can identify it. I don't know how to grow it. So these are ways of us like losing our ancestral knowledge. So our work really matters, and these are the things we are really looking forward to either promote. Some of these here we are looking forward to promote, and some of them we are looking forward to stop or mitigate them. So depending on the points that is on the slide here. Okay, so our vision, we want to see a Ghana or a community where people see food as culture, they see food as medicine, and they see food as a preventive health, not just for consumption. So that's our vision, captured in three sentences. Food, where people see food as culture, people see food as medicine, and these are some of our signature herbal line. We have turkey berry. These are some of our signature herbal line. Turkey berries, also known as kwensusa, is a local spice. Mostly is used or is added to our stews, our soups. However, these days, a lot of people have been able to add value to it, and it's been turned into or processed into powdered, where you can add them into your smoothies or even just add it into hot water and drink as a tea. However, GoGreen HolistiQ have been able to encapsulate this local spice. Interestingly, we are the first to encapsulate the turkey berry capsules, or the turkey berry, sorry. We are the first to encapsulate turkey berry. It's high or rich in iron. Looking for a natural iron supplement, turkey berry capsules is your go-to. Or you can, if you have it in powdered form, as I mentioned earlier, you can add them into your smoothies, into your stews, into your soups, and also take them as teas. We also have them in tea bags, but depending on what your preference is. Then we have the dehydrated turmeric and ginger flakes. These are also natural. So turmeric, ginger put together, we know that, let me say, I shouldn't say we know, I'm not sure everybody know, but they are high in antioxidants. They also have anti-inflammatory properties. For ginger, ginger is excellent for blood circulation. And turmeric is also excellent for muscle relaxation, pain. In fact, turmeric and ginger are all excellent for pains. So they help relieve pain, arthritis, inflammation, and overall, they help boost your immune system. Then hibiscus flowers, commonly known as sobolo, the Caribbeans call it sorrel, is excellent, is an excellent herb. It does a lot of things, but I'll just share three things. Excellent for high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and also great, it's high in iron as well. So, but especially for women, it's excellent for your womb health. So before menstruation and even during menstruation, it's excellent for you to start taking or consuming hibiscus flower teas. A little precaution, or let me say a quick precaution, if you have low blood pressure, please don't consume hibiscus flowers. And also, it is advisable not to be on it or consume it for more than 3 weeks. When you do that, when you consume it within 3 weeks, please go check your blood pressure because it helps, it reduces your blood pressure. So you may be taking it you may be taking it as just a juice or as a drink or as a tea for some other ailments. Let's say for menstrual cramps. I know for menstrual cramps, you can take it for up to 3 weeks, but maybe for high cholesterol, please ensure that you are always checking your BP, maybe every weekly, because it reduces the blood pressure. Okay, okay, Abna, can we move to the next? So these are some of our signature herbal line. Also, soon by next month, which is just around the corner, we've been able to also put together some amazing ingredients, local herbs and spices that are excellent for pain relief, but then they are in form of oils and also salves and balms. So especially for the salve, if you are the type that is always experiencing muscles, you have muscle sore, or you feel sore in your muscles or pains, you're always stressed out, and all the salves are excellent for you, while the balms are excellent. It's in body nourishing balm, and the oils are for massages. So those would be out by next month, God willing. All right. I would really want to emphasize on this. So remember, we talked about preserving our ancestral knowledge. So GoGreen Holistic as part of our community project, and also remember that we are a social enterprise. We are developing a 1 acre land, and this one we are welcoming partners, researchers, and supporters to join us in protecting our valuable medicinal plants. So one of the challenges that we have identify is that one, there is a huge knowledge gap when it comes to our medicinal herbs, plants, and spices. Then two is that people are no longer able to even identify these herbs and spices. So people go to the market and they can identify, they just, they tell you the name, and the local sellers, sometimes because they know people are ignorant or there is a knowledge gap, you may go out there and say you want basil, which is akokobesa. And because it looks similar like the scent leaf, which we are going to be talking about, they switch it or swap it. If they don't have basil, they give you scent leaf. But yeah, in as much as they all belong to the mint family, they have similar medicinal properties. However, they also have, they are also unique in their own way. So depending on whatever ailment that you are using them for, if you go and you ask for akukobesa and then you're being given scent leaf, which is nunum, that may be detrimental to your health. So, but however, because people no longer or can no longer identify these medicinal herbs and spices because we are losing them, they are going into extinction, some of them, it has become a problem. So the solution is for us, we want to develop 1 acre land. We have more than that, but that's where we want to start from, and start cultivating some of these commonly used medicinal herbs, spices, and plants, so that when people come and we educate them, they can also see for themselves. They'll be able to identify them when they go to the market. Abna, let's move on to the next slide. So, but we are calling on individuals that are interested, that would love to support the community project. We would really be grateful for that. Okay, so we go straight into what we have for today. That was a lot of talking. Okay. Today is demystifying indigenous herbs and spices. And our featured plants are local garlic, which is a spice, and we'll be talking about herbs, the basil, and scent leaf. I'm sure some of you may have heard about basil. but the scent leaf is not so common. But today we will learn some things about the scent leaf, basil, and local garlic. You'll see the difference or know the difference between local garlic and the regular Chinese thing. You go into the malls to buy thinking, yeah, they are garlic, but our local garlic are more healthier or has a lot of health benefit than what you're consuming. Okay, before we move on to the next slide, we cannot talk about these future plants without knowing the difference between a herb and a spice. So I'm quickly just going to talk about the difference. Okay, before I do that, please, can anyone share with us when you hear herb, what comes into mind? Anyone? I want it to be interactive. Tonight is conversation. We are learning, exchanging knowledge.
I think green leaves.
Green
I think
leaves.
I
Okay,
think of
okay.
green leaf plants. Yeah.
Green leaf plants. Thank you, Linda. Thank you for that. Any other person?
I was gonna say similar, but I always think of dried. When I think of herbs, dried stuff, I guess in packages, but that's probably because of where I live. So dried,
Okay.
packaged leaves. So it's
Yes.
dried,
And
dehydrated.
Yes.
they're
Yes.
aromatic. They usually have some strong smell and oils in them.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. I love that. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Abna. Okay. Okay. Yes. So yes, Abna, I would say Linda was more correct than Abna. So because you say, yeah, you mostly you find them dry. Yes, they are also herbs, but in herbalism, especially for herbs, when they are dehydrated and processed into powder, we um we call them spices instead of herbs. Yes, so when we say herbs in herbalism, we are referring to leafy plants, leafy green part of plants. So example of your herb would be akokobesa, which is basil. Scent leaf is an herb. Um, Parsley is also a herb. Celery is a herb. So all of those leafy greens part of the plant are what we refer to as your herb. Now, when we talk about spices, your spices are, it could be the stem of a plant, the bark of a plant, seeds, rinds, what else? Roots. All of these are spices. So seeds, the bark, the stem, the roots. All of these are spices. So that is the basic difference between a herb and a spice. And like I mentioned earlier, when you process your herb into powder and it becomes powder form, we refer to it as spice, now not an herb. So for example, we have fresh rosemary and we have powdered rosemary. So when you are using the fresh rosemary with the leafy greens or the leafy part, that we refer to it as a herb. But if you use the powder form, now rosemary becomes a spice. But don't get confused. The difference is just that your herb, leafy green part of the plant, your spice is the bark, the roots, the stem, seeds. All of these are your spices. Okay, now let's go into our featured plants. Okay, before that, why indigenous herbs and spices matter? So they matter because they are part of Ghana's culinary heritage. When we date back to the ancient times, our forebears, at their time, there was nothing like MSGs, cubes, artificial flavors, and all these things you find out there in the market and on the shelves in the malls. They were all using local herbs, spices to flavor their foods. So our indigenous herbs and spices are important because they are part of our culinary heritage or our ancestral, also used traditionally for food. And not just for food, we use them for wellness. Today, I'm going to share some do-it-yourself recipes that you can use for simple things like constipation, acid flux, cough, cold, that you don't always have to just go to the over-the-counter. And this is also a disclaimer. I'm not saying that you should not go to your doctor when you're not well, but these are more like first aid that you can use. And then you listen to your body. And if there are no changes, then you can go to the hospital. But I'm a witness, and we have several witnesses out there that would also testify or attest to the fact that these local herbs and spices are indeed medicines. They are not just for consumption. So they are used traditionally for food, for wellness, and for community healing. They are rich in natural compounds. We'll be seeing some of them as we move, and they are affordable and locally sourced. You don't have to go out there and start sourcing for imported herbs and spices. Abna, next slide, please. Now we are here to our future plants. So the first here is our local garlic. And I would want to, I think I already gave that hint. I was going to ask you all which was the local garlic, but I think I already gave the hint from the beginning. Abna, did I? Did I give the hint about? I already did, right? So I can ask that question. I was going to ask you to identify amongst these two, which of them is the local garlic. Yeah. So the local garlic scientifically is known as Allium sativum, but we are going to just look at also the local name, which is garlicky. Garlicky. Galekee. So it's similar to garlic, but it's just pronounced garlicky with a different spelling. Now, traditionally, our garlic is used in flavoring soups, stews, and sauces. So apart from these three ways of, incorporating them into your diet, which other way do any of you use garlic? Anybody want to share? Apart from adding them to your soups, your stews, your sauces, which other way do you use your garlic?
Isn't it good for colds?
Yeah, for cold, but how? How do you prepare it? Is it okay? Thank you, Novi. Novi said tea. Okay, excellent. Which other
Chop it up.
way?
I just chop it up and put it on toast and eat it raw.
Excellent. For salad. Okay, no, for
If I'm
toast.
sick.
Excellent.
If I'm sick, just
Yes,
to get the
yes,
cold to kill. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, 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 yes. Excellent. Yes, you can also consume the local garlic. For me, it's because the garlic, not just the local garlic, but I'll just right now say garlic. Garlic is a natural antibiotic. So sometimes what I do is like in a week, I first thing in the morning before breakfast, I chop it in pieces, and then I just take it, swallow it like I'm swallowing, the tablet, like you're swallowing medicine. That's how I consume it in the morning to help detoxify my system and also boost my immune system. So it's the first thing I have in the morning. And I do this like twice in a week. Sometimes I chew it. Now, some people may not like the smell of garlic. So if you don't want it to smell in your mouth, you can cut it into pieces and just swallow. First thing before breakfast is excellent immune booster. Whatever bacteria, whatever foreign thing in your body is going to help flush it out. So that's one way that I consume it. And then, yes, I add garlic, ginger to all my foods. I wouldn't say almost, all. When I say all of my foods, I add garlic, ginger. Like those are constant K, no variable. They are the constant Ks in my food. Okay, so for flavoring and then home remedy for colds and coughs, I'm going to share a simple recipe that you can use it. You can actually use it in form of a tea, but in form of syrup, I'm going to share the recipe. If I forget, please remind me. It's also used in herbal preparations for general wellness. And that's where I mentioned tinctures. So if you want to fight or you want to boost your immune system and you don't want to go through the method that I used, which is that I shared earlier, sorry, which is, you swallowing it or adding it into tea, you can get like 5 cloves of garlic. Then you get your fresh ginger, a thumb of ginger. Then I don't know how many of you are familiar. I think almost all of us are familiar with prekese. Are we familiar with prekese? Good. So with the prekese, you just need one of the prekese. Then you cut it into 3 or into 4. But overall, you just need 3 pieces of the prekese. So your prekese, your ginger, and your garlic. And what you do is you get the local alcohol, not the palm wine, the akpeteshi. That's the alcohol itself. So you pour that on it and you make sure it's covering your ingredients. Then you properly close the lid. So you're putting all of these ingredients in a jar, in a glass jar, and afterwards you properly close it or tighten the lid, and you leave it to macerate for like I think, yeah, the maximum that we recommend people is for 6 weeks, but from 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you can start consuming your tincture. And please, I would want to say this, you don't consume tinctures like the way you drink tea, no, because they are highly potent. You are extracting directly. It's not going through any other medium. The alcohol is extracting the compound. So tinctures are very powerful and potent. So you need to take them in drops. Once you have fully macerated your tincture, so let's say you do a maximum of 6 weeks or a minimum of 2 weeks. The next thing is for you to strain your tincture using a cheesecloth. You strain it and then you pour it into dropper bottles, the dark dropper bottles. And then every morning you take 5 drops of that under your tongue. It goes straight into your bloodstream and is a natural way of boosting your immune system. Okay, so that is one recipe for you. Also for the syrup, using your local garlic, what you do is you take about, medium size of the garlic, you chop them in pieces, chop them. Then you get the purple onion that also looks like the color of this garlic you're seeing here, a big size of that. You cut those ones and you add it. All of these you are adding into a glass jar. Then the next thing is your ginger, a thumb of ginger. You chop your ginger, add all of these in a glass jar and cover it with pure honey. Once you cover with pure honey, make sure you close the lid tightly, the lid of the jar tightly, and leave it for 2 days. I would rather prefer to leave it for a longer time, like 3-4 days, but it's fine. If you do 2 days, it's still ready to use. So that is your natural syrup for cold, for sores, for, I should say, yes, for cold and sores. It's also excellent for kids. So if you have kids, kids are vulnerable. It's also a natural way of boosting their immune system. Now, it's not recommended for you to administer tinctures to kids or for kids. So if you are looking for a substitute, a way of boosting their immune system, natural antibiotics, you can substitute the tincture with the syrup that I just mentioned, the recipe I just mentioned for kids. It would naturally boost their immune system against any bacteria. Children are highly vulnerable and they are prone to having these infections because of always playing in dirt and their hands, germs, and all of that. So you can have this syrup in your house, and maybe once in a week, you just give it to them. They don't have to fall sick. Don't wait for them to get sick before you administer it. Once in a week, you just give it to them it's a natural immune booster. It boosts their immune system, and also for cold, for cold and for sores as well. All right, I think I have. Yes. So for garlic is a natural blood thinner. So please, if you are on blood thinners medication, stay away from garlic. Or should I say, how do I say it? I'm looking for the opposite because garlic is a natural blood thinner. So who should stay away from garlic? I think, yeah, is someone who is on blood thinners, right? Because garlic is a natural blood thinner. Then you're going to be having like
Double. Yeah,
um,
if you're thin, if your blood is already thin and then you take garlic, you're going to make it even thinner.
excellent. Thank you. Thank you. That's a simple explanation. So please don't use garlic. Don't consume garlic if you are on blood thinners, except you're having challenge with your blood, like, clotting. Is that the right thing to say? I think yes, yes. Also, I think I have covered all these. Yes. Yes, it's a natural it's very excellent for inflammation, antibiotics. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so please let's move on to the next thing. Next slide. Excellent. So basil, which is akokobesa. I love basil, but before I start, I want to remind us that the first slide, the local garlic is the first image that you saw. That is the local garlic. So when you walk into the market, ask for that type. Yes, ask for the purple one. That is the local garlic. However, most people sell this white one that you see, the white ones. So make sure that you ask them for local garlic. If you don't say local garlic and you just say garlic, they would give you the white garlic. And I don't want to say so much because this is recorded, but yes, I would just say stick to the local garlic, excuse me, because it's healthier and is locally cultivated or planted and is sourced here. It's from Mother Ghana. So go for that. It's better for your system. All right, next slide. Yes, so for basil, akukobesam, this is an excellent herb. And basil is so versatile that we have over 50 species or varieties. I just put four of the different types of basils that we have. And locally, basil is known as akokobesa. Some people say akokobesa or akokomesa. Whichever way is being pronounced, just know they are referring to basil. Now, the first type of basil we have here is the holy basil. This one is, I think, the commonly used one or the common one in Ghana. Mostly we see this big variety in Ghana, which is the holy basil.
So you were saying about the basil. Could you tell us which
Yes.
position you're talking about? So is it top left, the green one, the first one that you see next to the words?
Okay, so the top left is the holy basil. Then the bottom left is the Thai basil. Then the top right is the Italian basil. Then the last one is the purple basil.
That's the Ghanaian one.
No. The
Oh,
Ghanaian one is the Ghanaian one is the top left.
Is it?
oh, it's
I'm
not
such
the
a
Yes.
one
different
that's
level then.
flowering.
The one, no, it's the one with the big leaves. That's the commonly, you see those ones commonly here, but you also see the Thai basil, but the big ones are mostly found here in Ghana.
Wow.
Yes. Yes. And even in Nigeria, they have it as well, the holy basil. Like those ones are commonly found in West Africa. And they are easy. They are easy to cultivate than the other types of basil. Most basils are easy to cultivate, but with with the holy basil, they are easy to care for, and they grow wildly. So yeah. Okay. Yes, so the health benefit, let's go to the traditional uses. So basil is used for a lot of things, but basically it's been added to stews and to soups. In fact, I was telling Abuna before you all joined that I am having a catering order for tomorrow for about 70 people. I cannot cook my meal without adding or finishing up with basil. Basil is also my basic, like, is my constant K. I add it in my soups. I add it in my stews because of the flavor, that distinct flavor that it has. So it's used in foods, sorry, it's used in stews and soups, and then it's also prepared as tea. It can be prepared as a tea or infusion. So remember we talked about infusions, but let me give you a difference between tea and infusion. And then I'll talk about infusion oils. All of these are different. So when you prepare basil as a tea, it means that you add the leaves into a boiling water on the stove. The water is boiling, you add it, right? And once you add it, is advisable. I see a lot of people boil their herbs for a long time. No, it's not advisable for you to boil your herb for such a long time. So once you add your herb to your pot, you add your water, immediately the water start boiling, you turn it off and allow it to steep. So that is tea. When we talk about infusion, this means you boil your water only. You add your herb into either a bowl or into a cup, and you pour your hot water on it. Either you cover it or you just leave it and allow it to steep for about 10 to 15 minutes. When you boil it on heat or on the stove, immediately the water boils and you turn off your heat. You allow it to steep for 5 to 10 minutes. But when you infuse it, you allow it to steep for about 10 to 15 minutes. That's the difference between tea and infusion. So you hear people say, I'm having tea, I'm having herbal infusion. Those are the differences. So yes, those are the difference between the tea and the infusion. Now also you can use it as an infused oil, or you can add it into oils to extract its oils as well as its medicinal properties. So basil is excellent for skin. Yeah, I put it down here as part of the health benefit, is excellent for skin. So you can actually put together lemongrass, or let's say citronella and basil, and add your oil to infuse. after, let's say, maximum of 6 weeks, minimum of 2 weeks, you strain it and use the oil for yourself. With the smell, the potent smell or the pungent smell of the citronella, it will help repel mosquitoes. But the basil is to help protect your skin, which is more like nourishing your skin. So yeah, that's one of the health benefit. And basil is also excellent for ulcers. So if you have ulcer or you have you're always experiencing acid reflux. You can chew it. So first thing before breakfast or before any meal, especially if you're having ulcer, you take about 5 leaves of basil and you chew it. But please make sure that you thoroughly soak your herb due to the chemical residues in some of our foods, especially the raw foods, vegetables, herbs. Please make sure that you thoroughly soak it. You can soak it using baking soda. If you're here in Ghana, you use the local salt called Adan, the Adan salt. But if you're over there, you can use baking soda or vinegar to properly soak your herb. After that, thoroughly rinse it, and then you chew it, about 5 pieces. That's excellent for ulcer. If your ulcer is severe, when you chew it, you will start feeling this burning sensation, and that tells you that it's healing the sore or whatever is going on there. And it's rich in antioxidant. It means it helps to remove all these dead cells. It also helps with, it is high in anti-inflammatory properties as well, sorry. It also supports digestion. So yes, for constipation, if you want to use basil to treat constipation, what you do is you take it in form of a tea. So before you even start eating, first take a cup of basil tea, and it will help aid digestion. So once after taking the tea and you eat, immediately digestion will start taking place. So that's also excellent for constipation. It contains essential oils with antimicrobial. Yeah, I already talked about that. Yes, can promote relaxation and stress relief. So for me, sometimes what I do when I'm stressed, like today I've been so stressed, it's been a long day. If I don't choose, I have different types of I have different types of stress relief herbs and spices, So if I don't take the other types, I go for basil. Rosemary is also excellent for stress relief. Yeah, even your ginger is excellent for stress relief because when you are stressed, the muscles in your brain tightens, and sometimes it prevents the circulation of air or as well as blood in your brain. But when you consume ginger before going to bed, oh my God, you feel some things going on in your brain. I don't know if it's just me, but yeah, I think some people have shared that experience as well when you're overly stressed. And not just ginger, some of these herbs and spices, that tells you how powerful they are. When you consume them like 30 minutes before bed and you put away your phones and just go off screen time, you're ready to go to sleep and you take it 30 minutes before sleep, you can start feeling that something is going on in your brain. That's how powerful they are. You start feeling their healing properties immediately. Okay, so traditionally, yes, it's used to support respiratory health as well. Can we move into the next one? While she's sharing, it's also high in essential nutrient like calcium. Basil is very high in calcium as well as vitamin K. So for those of you that are looking for natural ways of strengthening your bones, go for basil as well. It's excellent it's high in calcium and vitamin K. All right, let's come to the twin sister of basil. I call them twins because they look Some of them look similar. So if you look at the Italian basil and the Thai basil and some of the other varieties of basil, they look similar like the scent leaf. However, the smell is different. Scent leaf, which is also known as nunum locally, has a stronger smell than basil. So even in Nigeria and in Ghana here and other West African countries, they add it into, in Nigeria, they have this local soup called pepper soup. But in Ghana, we have light soup. When you add scent leaf to your light soup, oh my God, and especially for those on animal diet, I do a lot of plant foods. So, but for those of you that cook with chicken, yes, especially with chicken, if you're doing or preparing light soup with chicken and you add your scent leaf, nunum, go try it and come back and the taste. So yeah, it's been added into our local soups as well as our stews. But I would recommend that you add it more into your soups because of the flavor. It gives out or it releases that flavor more in soups. And I think it's much better in soups than stews. Yes, that's what I would say from experience as an experienced plant food chef. That's what I would say. So we are wrapping up. So it's also used, you can consume it as tea. Traditionally, it's also used for stomach discomfort. Remember, I said it has similar properties, healing properties as the basil because they are kind of like, it's like turmeric and ginger. I call those two also twins because they have similar health benefit and they look alike, just like this, the scent leaf and the basil, they all belongs to the mint family. However, one distinct thing about this scent leaf is traditionally is used for lactating women, especially those that are having the challenge of, with breast milk. It's excellent. It helps naturally, it helps boost the production of breast milk. So you can try that. You can take it as a tea or you add it into your juices. It's excellent for that. Yes, it possesses antimicrobial properties. Also, these also support digestive health. Is excellent for your organs. The scent leaf is excellent for your organs and is also great. It has antimicrobial properties. Okay, let's move to the next slide. But remember, the forms in which you can use it is either you add it in your soups, you consume it as a tea. You can also chew it just like the basil. But be careful. This is very, very, it's highly stronger than the basil in terms of the smell or the scent, as well as the how fast it works. It's kind of a quicker version of the basil. So please consume this in small quantities. All right, final reflection. I will leave us with this word to say that we all have to preserve, cultivate. We cannot preserve our local herbs and spices if we don't cultivate them. And also if we don't utilize them. So when you go to the market, when you come to Ghana next time and you walk into the local market, please don't go for foreign herbs and spices. I'm not saying that they are not medicinal, but let's also promote our own, let's support our own, and let's consume our own. So our indigenous herbs and spices, they are food, they are cultural heritage, knowledge, ancestral knowledge being passed down to us. And it also has a lot of economic opportunities if we all can come together to start cultivating them and utilizing them. Next slide, please. Okay, I'll leave you with this closing quote. When we preserve our herbs and spices, remember that we are preserving our stories, our health, and our heritage. Thank you. Thank you for your time. I hope that you've learned so much tonight. And yes, question and answer time, if there is any. I know we are like 10 minutes, more than 10 minutes behind the time. Yeah.
Princess, thank you so much. That was so informative. I was scribbling notes while you were talking, and you did it all without stressing. Where's your basil? So that you can have a little chew
Oh
to
yes, I have it.
de-stress.
I have it in my fridge. I need to take it because my day is not over yet.
Yeah, but you did really well. Thank you. I hope everyone enjoyed and took something away from that. There are
Okay.
some
I see
questions.
Linda's hands up. I see Chris. Okay.
So I'm just going to read them off. Oh, actually, you know what? Should I stop sharing? Or actually, maybe people want to take a photo of your contact, so I'll leave it up. So this is from
Yes.
Linda. So she
Okay.
says, this is related to land and water pollution. We've all seen the very disturbing films of the effects of galamsey. Is there a movement to address these in Ghana?
Yes, Linda. In fact, if we start, thank you for your question. So, if we start with the issue of contamination and food safety, we would not even, that's like a whole conversation on its own. So, last 2 weeks, I was part of a panelist on World Food Safety Day, and we're talking about contamination, like you've mentioned, galamsey, and also the polluted water. A lot of these, or some, I don't want to say a lot, but some of these local growers, especially those, excuse me, that cultivate these herbs in the urban areas, like in Accra here, they use polluted water. So water from the gutters, like, oh my God. Yeah. So as a consumer educator, a food security advocate, we are actually working towards this. That's why we educate individuals. I know it's not easy for you to really like find a trusted supplier or grower, but we advise individuals to start small. You can turn your pot into a garden by growing, cultivating your herbs in your pots. With that, you're able to see and know, okay, this is coming. I know what I'm putting on my plant. I know you can grow all of the food, like all of the wholesome foods, the tomatoes, the what, but you can start small. Grow your herb, your basil. They are easy. Like the herbs are very easy to cultivate. So I have basil growing in my garden. So yeah, we are really working towards that, and we are educating local growers, farmers, to look at healthier ways of cultivating our local foods, not just our local foods, but globally, because we people are exporting and importing, and you don't know what is going on. And also that's why we advise individuals to food prepping is very critical. Not just even the contaminated waters. Talk about the chemical residue. I bought tomatoes from the market, and I've been sharing this with people that now when you go to the market and you buy tomatoes and you see the white, you see some white things on the tomatoes, just know that those white things are your chemical residue. So when you get to the house, don't just rush and quickly rinse your tomatoes and start cooking with them. You need to soak them first with baking soda, vinegar, or if you're in Ghana, with the local salt called Adan salt. Before you thoroughly wash them, you first soak them for like 10 minutes. Then you thoroughly wash them. Afterwards, you rinse them. Thoroughly rinse, rub your hands and rinse them. So those are some of the ways that we're educating individuals to be conscious about your food. Yeah.
I was just going to add to what you said, Linda. I've shared in the group Find Ghana before. There's an organization called Eco Conscious Citizens Ghana. So they do a lot of work around galamsey, the work with Atua Forest, and trying to protect it. So stopping bauxite mining there. So I can share the
Mm.
contact with you on the group as well because they're really active.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Cool. Thank you for that, responding to that, Ikuya. We've got another question from Leslie. She's left, but she's asked the question about hibiscus. So you mentioned hibiscus is good for womb health. Can hibiscus help with perimenopausal symptoms? Do you
Okay,
know?
yes. Yes, hibiscus is excellent for womb health. However, I would really, if we want to look at perimenopause, then I would recommend other type of herbs for her, but she's off. She's off
You can
the
still say
call.
it because it's recorded, so you can still tell us.
Okay, yeah. So other types are like valerian, though it's not local or indigenous to us, but that is also very excellent for womb health. Then for us, we have this local medicinal plant. It's not a herb, it's a plant. It's called Yesumoja. That's the local name, Yesumoja. But the English name, commonly known as St. John's bush.
Mm.
I'm sure some of you might have heard of St. John's bush. That is an excellent fact. I recommend that plant for every woman, whether you are nearing the stage of perimenopause or you are in menopause or you are in, you're not St. John's wort, it's St. John's bush. St. John's wort is different from St. John's bush.
Uh-huh.
Yes. So go look for St. John's bush. The flowers are red. And the interesting thing about this medicinal plant is when you add it into hot water or you boil it, it turns red. And that's why locally we call it Yesumoja.
Uh,
Yesumoja means blood of Jesus because it
yeah,
turns red. The water turns red.
really
Yeah,
useful.
so that is what I'll recommend for her as well. If she's looking for something local, she should do St. John's Bush with ginger. It's excellent for
Okay.
perimenopause. Yeah.
Okay. This question came a lot. You know the recipes you mentioned, do you have it written down or is
Mhm.
there a way that people can access it? Or do we have to listen to the
Okay.
recording?
Yeah, they have to listen to the recording because these are some of the things I shared during my workshops. So I'm not going to send the recipe. I'm sorry.
Okay,
It's
that's
just a
fine.
snippet.
Okay. And then Linda just mentioned it was like an observation. My mum used to make soup with nunum when we were in Ghana. I always bring back prekase,
Yeah.
is it inkatinkati? Is that right? Inkatinkati,
Yes.
etc. When I run out.
Inkitinkiti.
Oh yes. It's time to go
Wow,
back. Yes, it is.
Linda. I'm so excited to know that Linda knows Inkitinkiti. Even up now, you can't pronounce Inkitinkiti. You're saying
No.
Inkitinkiti.
I wasn't raised in Ghana. Linda was. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
That's
So
my
yeah, Inkitinkiti is just like Inkitinkiti has that licorice kind of, flavor. So it's more like coriander. That's more like our local coriander. I also use that a lot in my stews and my soups because oh my God, I don't want to go in there. But thank you for sharing, Linda.
cool. I don't know, Chris, have you got a question? Novella?
Yeah,
Yeah, I know you
sorry.
missed it. Yeah, go for it, Chris.
Yeah, I have one. I noticed that there are some people who are very apprehensive in terms of medicinal um, plants and stuff because they may have side effects or they may not be effective as the medicine you get from the doctor. Um, And I think it's because they probably are not educated enough about the um, medicinal plants or whatever. Um, and this is one of the challenges, but how would you overcome that challenge? How would you convince people to take on the medicinal plants with confidence?
Okay. Thank you, Chris, for that. That is like one of the strongest debates of the and like what people believe or what they've seen. Now, the one thing about natural remedies, remember, we say natural, they are nature. So if you have been eating or you're having this diet-related disease, for example, let's say obesity, and you want to go natural remedy, but then you're looking for the natural remedy to work instantly. It's not magic. I'm sorry, it's not going to work because that obesity did not happen in 1 day or 2 days. And for natural remedy is not treating the symptoms, is actually going down to work on the root cause. So you have to be patient if you're using natural remedy. And that's why we advise individuals, don't wait until your situation get out of hand. Because sometimes if it get out of hand, as a herbalist, I would not advise you to come for natural remedy when maybe you need an instant healing, which is like maybe you have to go for surgery, because it has escalated. You did not treat yourself, you did not listen earlier. But however, we've had a lot of individuals that have talked about healing themselves naturally through their food, through herbs, through their lifestyle, change of diet, change of lifestyle. So yes, that is a huge knowledge gap there. I am a witness, and I have so many other people that can attest to the fact that natural remedies work, but they don't work like magic because they are working on the root cause. They are not treating the symptoms. For example, let's say you're having ulcer, for example, stomach ulcer. You may go to the hospital and they give you a tablet. You take it. That tablet is going to work or attend to or respond to the symptoms. You see, you get relief, but it's not like it's going to cure you totally. Abna, are we still recording?
Yep. Do you not want this recorded?
I asked because, we know the other type of medication is more like for profit. So they're not going to treat you the root cause. They treat the symptoms so you can come back and you get relief for like some months and then it's come again. But for natural remedy is working on the root cause. And that's why they say, eat your food as your medicine. So the more you consume these natural things like basil, even cabbage, if you're looking for the fastest way to cure yourself from ulcer, go on cabbage juice.
My mum
So
says that.
yeah. So it's more of a prevention rather than a cure.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So the natural remedy is more of the cure, not I would say prevention and also the cure. So as you're using them, utilizing them is curing and healing you. It's not just treating the symptoms and then it comes again. But then you have to be careful if you are doing things that actually caused that sickness or disease, you don't have to go back to it. I hope that answered your question, Chris.
Oh yeah, it does. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Cool. So just one last question. Yao, I see that you have appeared and it's nice to have you here. Do you have a question? I know you weren't able to listen to the beginning.
Yeah, I'm actually counting on the getting the recording later
Oh,
to see if I can go
then.
through the whole thing. Yeah. I
Okay
would
then.
it's not so much of a question. I guess I just wanted to add, like, when it comes to the difference between the pharmaceuticals and herbal medicine, is that it's actually a recent controversy, because up until about the beginning of the 20th century, herbal medicines were actually the default. And were, like, for example, sort of massage and herbal medicines were the default. Pharmaceuticals came in when petroleum came in, and the people who were interested in that industry because of the money essentially decided to marginalize everything else as being alternative medicine. And unfortunately, funding doesn't go there. That's the reason why we don't do the science to see exactly what it is doing. They just keep it as this weird, spiritual thing, while the pharmaceuticals grows and grows. And we know that obviously the consequences of that to people's health. But, that's why during COVID, a lot of people who were in those countries that have serious pharmaceutical medicines were just falling like flies, whereas we in Africa didn't, because we have a more organic lifestyle. And so I guess that was like the proof of the pudding, basically. But I would definitely like to learn a lot more about these, because I'm slowly moving into natural remedies, and I didn't used to believe in it until I actually bought some, tried it, and I realized that as I just went through the process, that the difference was like night and day. So I'm really, really excited to get into learning more about these things.
Well, you're in the right place. You're both in Accra, Princess, Yao, and Novella. So make sure you connect. But you're on the group. So I'm going to draw this to a close, because I'm sure we're all hot and sweaty. Princess has been fighting with the internet, and she's got some food to finish cooking. And I just want to thank you so much for putting a whole slide together. That was not part of the plan. You've gone over and above. This was brilliant. Learned so much. I'm going to go back and listen, and I'll share it with everyone here because you took the time to come. So thank you so, so much. And lastly, this is an invitation for anyone else who's on FindGhana. If you're an entrepreneur, even if you're not, if you're a creative, if you've got something to say, be our next guest. I'm looking at you, Linda. Okay. So yes, thank you.
And thank you, Abna. Before you all jump off, just one last thing, 30 seconds. Please, before you transit into natural remedies, make sure you have a coach. Don't just, the myth is that people think that natural remedy means it's good, it's healthy. But if you don't have guidance, it can also be very, very detrimental to your health if you don't know how to combine the herbs and spices. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so take down her details. I've put the link in the comments, and I'll share it again, and then I'll share the video once I've processed it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All the very best.
Bye. Bye. All the best.
Bye.